Okay, greetings, true believers. Here we are at the end, here towards the finishing up the hero's journey. So we're going to talk about a few things here. I decided to leave off the video references for now since, well, I can't show them anyway through this means. So if you decide maybe you want to like to have some of those, I can provide those later. I might just do it anyway. All right, so Road of Trials. So once the hero crosses a threshold, they are going to undergo various trials or ordeals. One way to help the hero during this journey or during these trials and ordeals is they receive some kind of insight. Sometimes it's something otherworldly. You think about Star Wars. They have the Force, something like that. It could be religious. It could just be words of wisdom, something that kind of gives them a means of understanding. The moment of despair. So, actually, some of the ordeals next. I should switch these. No hero partners. Let's go to the ordeals first. Sorry, I didn't put these in the right order. So the ordeal is the critical moment in every story, a major source of magic and heroic myth. According to Christopher Vogel, author of The Writer's Journey, Mythic Structure, the hero stands in the deepest chamber of the inmost cave and faces a direct confrontation with his greatest fear. So, if you remember back when we talked about Luke Skywalker in the cave, that would be a good example of the ordeal, right? He's face to face with his greatest fear of essentially becoming evil or becoming Darth Vader, being consumed by his passions and being essentially a puppet of evil. So there are various trials. Oftentimes, this is where the hero has to kind of face up to who he or she is. So oftentimes this could lead to what is known as, let's back up now, the moment of despair, right? It's a major obstacle. Confess the hero, the future dim, a trap, a mental imprisonment, or imminent defeat on the battlefield. It seems like the adventure will come to a sad conclusion as all hope appears lost. But hope remains, and it is in these moments of despair when the hero must access a hidden part of, themselves, one more micron of energy, strength, faith, or creativity to find his or her way, or their way, out of the belly of the beast. The hero must call on an inner power they don't really know they possess. So, if you look at the example I gave of the 12 kingdoms, Yoko is constantly taunted by, of all things, her scabbard, that case where the swords go inside. And she's told that she needs to take care of it, but it gets damaged during one of the scrapes she gets in, and she begins to get these delusions, these sort of visions of life back in Japan, where nobody misses her. They constantly speak ill of her, that she was deceitful and not really who she claimed to be. And in a lot of ways, Yoko has to kind of own up to the fact that, on the one hand, she was just, always trying to do things to please other people, always trying to be liked by everybody. And, she didn't really have any of her own freedom or agency. And so when she comes over to the special world, and when she's confronted with these delusions, really, these distortions, it begins to make her question the kind of person she is. Likewise, it also enables her to move forward with her life and to face up to her fears of who she is. And ultimately, she's able to defeat the spirit within the scabbard and progress from that point. All of a sudden, she realizes through various different means, right, how she can, in a sense, overcome this despair. It's something that comes from her friendships. At one point, because she's been kind of ill-treated and betrayed throughout the story, she begins simply to live out for her own self, and she ends up um, even almost killing one of her friends, thinking that he's going to rat her out to the authorities or whatever. Of course, she doesn't do it; she doesn't get a chance to. So all of this eventually leads her to come to a point where she recognizes these dark sides of herself. She recognizes that the delusions are trying to push her towards this moment of despair and self-destruction, and eventually she's able to overcome those things. Speaking of friends, hero partners. So oftentimes the heroes, or they lead their familiar life and they end up finding friends. Sometimes these friends, have some kind of vehicle. You think of Han Solo and Chewbacca, right? Luke Skywalker goes in the Millennium Falcon. I was watching a anime on Netflix called Grand Blue Adventure, I think it's called, or Grand Blue Fantasy Adventure, in which they meet a character, I forget his name, and of course he can fly these like airships that look like big giant air balloons, but they have like large ships you'd see like in a navy, or like in maybe an old-fashioned navy, except they're being suspended by these sort of turbines and balloons and whatnots. So usually the hero finds friends that help them along with their adventure. In this instance, a picture here, which we have the only example here, Frodo. We have Samwise. And of course, every time Frodo goes through dark moments, Samwise is always there to be a voice of encouragement, so they could probably help the hero through those moments of despair. I talked about that already. Okay, the rewards. A lot of times, heroes might gain something at the end. So having defeated the enemy and slain the dragon, the hero receives the prize. Pulling the metaphorical sword from the stone, the hero achieves the objective he set out to complete. Whether the reward is monetary, like money, physical, romantic, or spiritual, the hero transforms, and often the prize the hero initially sought becomes secondary as a result of the personal transformation they undergo. So, for instance, if you watch like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, he wants to find these Shankara stones in order to make money and be famous. But at the end, he finds the Shankara stones. Two eventually get lost. He gets the one that was stolen from a village, from the people who actually sent him on the journey. And instead of taking it home, he brings it back to the village. And life comes back to the village because of actually a lot of things that he did. At the end, the chief of the village or the leader of the village talks about how he knows the power of the rock. And Indiana Jones says, yes, I understand its power now. And so Indiana Jones has become more selfless as a result of his journey. He goes there seeking fame and fortune. He finds, in a sense, kids being enslaved, and his mission is no longer find the Shankara stones, take them back to USA to make money and fame. It's more about caring about these people and the situation they're in. And so the original quest was, here's the example, right? Perhaps the original quest was financially driven, but the hero now takes greater satisfaction in serving others in need. So it's perfectly what happens in Indiana Jones. So the real change is always internal. So even though someone may ascend to a throne, it might be more about how they see themselves. For example, I know some of you are doing Lion King. A question you may want to ask yourself is, how did Simba see being king at the beginning of the story? How did his view of kingship relate to Scar's view of kingship? And then at the end, what does Simba realize about his place, about his role as the king of the Pride Land? So you might want to think about that, because you're seeing the growth from him. Right? There's a whole song about how young Simba feels about being king. And finally, the return, right? So the hero returns to the ordinary world. Even though oftentimes they don't have to necessarily return to like their ordinary world. It could be this realization they come to at the end. So in this final stage, the hero can become both master of both worlds, with the freedom to live and grow, impacting all humanity. Returning with the prize, the hero's experience of reality is different. So they are not the same as they were in the beginning, right? There's a change. So they're no longer an innocent child, right? So they're not just sitting around looking for a good time. You think about Luke Skywalker looking out at those twin suns, right? And Yoda kind of rebukes him, saying Jedis don't look for excitement and adventure. And so Luke has to learn this isn't about going on a fun quest. This is about development, about building character. Then they become comfortable in their own skin. They have evolved and are now capable of handling demands and challenges. So, as I mentioned from the previous character that I used, Yoko begins being very indecisive and being rather cowardly to the point where she's able to take stands and become more comfortable with who and what she is. And not to mention that, but also in her role that she eventually achieves, becoming the Queen of the Kingdom of K. I hope this will help you understand the latter portion of the hero's journey. Again, always refer to my example. Again, like I said, if you have any need for other information or other examples, please just let me know. I will talk to you Wednesday. Take care.